and today the topic for today will be macrocytic anemia. Now we have already covered microcytic and normocytic anemia in hematology, and today we will focus on macrocytic anemia. Now macrocytic anemia is, you call it macrocytic anemia when the MCV, that is mean corpuscular volume, is more than 100 femtoliters. And the most common differential diagnosis that comes in macrocytic anemia is vitamin B12 deficiency, folate deficiency, if there is any hemolysis with reticulocytosis, or alcoholism, liver disease, hypothyroidism and myelodysplastic syndrome. Okay, so macrocytic anemias, as the name suggests, macro is that means it is the macrocytic anemia is characterized by large RBCs with a normal hemoglobin content. Okay, you have to remember this: large macro and normal hemoglobin content. Okay, so macrocytic anemias are classified as megaloblastic and non-megaloblastic anemias. So in megaloblastic anemias, the most important ones are vitamin B12 deficiency and folate deficiency. Okay, and in the non-megaloblastic anemias, it is alcoholism, it can be because of alcoholism, liver disease, hemolytic anemia, myelodysplastic syndrome and hypothyroidism. Now at your level, if you are asked what is the differential diagnosis of macrocytic anemia, you have to remember the megaloblastic anemias. The main two types are vitamin B12 and folate deficiency. Okay. So now megaloblastic anemias, why does it happen? It happens because of a defective synthesis of DNA in all the proliferating cells that is present in the bone marrow. Okay, and so this is the pathogenesis. When there is deficiency of vitamin B12 and folic acid, there will be inadequate biosynthesis of thymidine. Okay, thymidine helps in DNA synthesis. So when there is an inadequate biosynthesis of thymidine, there will be delayed nuclear maturation. Cytoplasmic maturation will obviously occur at a normal rate, because remember that DNA is present in the nucleus. That is the reason why there will be delayed nuclear maturation, and that is termed as nuclear cytoplasmic asynchrony. Okay, so when there is nuclear cytoplasmic asynchrony, red cell progenitors with defective DNA will undergo apoptosis, and that is termed as ineffective erythropoiesis. Okay, so you will remember this diagram from your biochemistry, that vitamin B12 and folate in from the diet is required for the synthesis of finally the DNA synthesis. I am not going to go into the detail. I just wanted to remind you that this in biochemistry you must have learnt about this, so that you can easily correlate between your biochemistry and pathology. Now, what are the dietary sources of vitamin B12 and folic acid? Like, first we'll go to vitamin B12. Vitamin B12, the daily requirement is 1 to 4 micrograms per day, and it is present in meats, eggs, dairy products and liver. You should also remember that it is synthesized by the gut flora, but it is not absorbed at that site, and absorption usually occurs in the distal ileum. Now coming to folic acid, the daily requirement is 100 microgram per day. Okay, and most foods including eggs, milk, green leafy vegetables and liver will contain folic acid. But one important thing to remember in folic acid is that it is destroyed by cooking for 10 to 15 minutes, and the absorption occurs in the duodenum and the jejunum. So folic acid is absorbed in the duodenum and the jejunum, and vitamin B12 will be absorbed in the distal ileum. So vitamin B12 deficiency, mostly you must have noticed that it is present in dairy foods and in meats and eggs. So obviously because in strict vegetarians and in breastfed infants, they will have vitamin B12 deficiency, and vitamin B12 deficiency can also happen because of malabsorption. They can be of two types, gastric causes and intestinal causes. Okay, gastric causes, the most important type is the pernicious anemia, or if there is a gastrectomy or gastric atrophy and achlorhydria. In intestinal causes, the causes are tropical sprue, ileal resection, Crohn's disease and Whipple's disease. Now coming to pernicious anemia, as I already told you, it is one of the most common causes of vitamin B12 deficiency, and it is a gastric cause. What is it? It is an autoimmune attack on the gastric mucosa which suppresses the production of intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is one of those factors which is very important for the absorption of vitamin B12 in the distal ileum. Okay, so coming on to folate deficiency. When can you get folate deficiency? Folate deficiency can happen if it is inadequate in the diet, like in the case of poor people, or when it is elderly people or alcoholics, teenagers and infants. It can also occur in malabsorptive states like tropical sprue, jejunal resection, Crohn's disease, celiac disease and partial gastrectomy. Excess demand can also happen like in physiological states in pregnancy, lactation and infancy, and in pathological states like malignancy, increased hematopoiesis, TB, rheumatoid diseases. In the case of drugs like phenytoin and methotrexate can also cause folate deficiency. So people who are taking these drugs can also have folate deficiency and hence megaloblastic anemia. Okay, this is just to show you that absorption of vitamin B12 that we take by the mouth is then finally aided by the intrinsic factor that is produced by the stomach, and then that intrinsic factor helps to absorb the vitamin B12 in the distal ileum. Okay, so coming on to the laboratory diagnosis. Okay, and when the patient comes to you with vitamin B12 and folic acid deficiency, first of all what you will do is you will do a CBC, that is complete blood count. In CBC what will you see? You will see hemoglobin and RBC counts will be decreased. Obviously it's a case of anemia, so hemoglobin and RBC count will be decreased. As I already told you in the introductory slide that MCV will be more than 100. So it is usually in the range of 110 to 140 femtoliters. MCH will be increased because of increased cell size. MCHC is normal, and WBCs and platelet counts are also decreased. Why is WBC and platelet counts also decreased? Because all these also contain DNA, and you should remember that megaloblastic anemia is because of a defect in the DNA synthesis. Okay, so in the peripheral blood smear, after CBC what we do? We do a peripheral blood smear. So in peripheral blood smear what we'll see? We'll see over macrocytosis with normochromia. So there is increase in the RBC size, but the hemoglobin level is normal. There will be Howell-Jolly bodies which are nothing but the nuclear DNA remnants, and hypersegmented neutrophils, which that means 5 or more lobes in the neutrophils. Okay, neutrophils commonly have 2 to 3 lobes. Okay, normally 2 to 3 lobes, but in the case of megaloblastic anemia, this is a characteristic finding of megaloblastic anemia. You see hypersegmented neutrophils, that is 5 or more lobes of the neutrophil. In addition, you will see moderate anisocytosis, poikilocytosis along with nucleated RBCs. RBC dimorphism can also be seen if the patient has an associated iron deficiency anemia, and the absolute reticulocyte count is decreased because of ineffective erythropoiesis. Okay. So this is the peripheral blood smear. Predominantly I am showing you here The cell in the center, this is actually a neutrophil with obviously more than 5 lobes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is a neutrophil with 10 lobes. So this is the characteristic hypersegmented neutrophil. Along with that, what are the other findings that I told you? Oval macrocytosis. Usually RBCs are round in shape, but in megaloblastic anemia, what you see? You will see oval macrocytes, okay, and you can also see teardrop cells. Okay, here you will see these. Again, I am showing you these oval macrocytes and hypersegmented neutrophils. Here I just want you to compare the size of the nucleus of the lymphocyte to the RBCs. Can you see? It is more than the size of the nucleus of the lymphocyte. Okay, so this is a case of macrocytosis. Now whenever you see a peripheral blood smear, you are supposed to match the size of the nucleus of the small lymphocyte with the size of the RBC. If it is of the same size, it is normocytic. If it is of the larger size, it is macrocytic, and if it is of the smaller size, it is microcytic. Okay, so this is here showing you different types of shapes. Okay, microcytosis, macrocytosis, and normocytosis. Okay, so I am just showing you this for comparison that you will see, but you should remember that you will see macrocytic RBCs in megaloblastic anemia. Okay, and these are Howell-Jolly bodies. These are nothing but the nuclear remnants of the DNA that is present in the RBCs, and you can also see nucleated RBCs in the peripheral blood smear. Now the next thing that we can do is bone marrow examination. On bone marrow examination, we see bone marrow under 5 headings. One is cellularity, erythropoiesis, granulopoiesis, megakaryocytes, and marrow iron. Okay, cellularity usually in the case of megaloblastic anemia will be hypercellular, okay, with decreased ME ratio. Now why is it decreased ME ratio? Because the erythroid precursors will increase in size in compensation of the anemia that is occurring in the periphery. Okay, so that is the reason why you will have hypercellularity of the marrow. Okay, under erythropoiesis, what you will see, erythropoiesis will be increased along with numerous megaloblastic erythroblasts. Now what is megaloblastic erythroblasts are also called as megaloblasts. Okay, these megaloblasts are larger than the normal normoblast and have a very delicate, finely reticulated sieve-like nuclear chromatin. Now why is this important? Because this nuclear chromatin that is present, it indicates nuclear immaturity. Okay, under granulopoiesis, what do you see? You see giant metamyelocytes and giant band forms. Okay, these are also characteristic findings in the case of bone marrow examination, just like how a hypersegmented neutrophils is a characteristic finding in the PBS of macrocytic anemia. Megakaryocytes will also be abnormally enlarged and they will have bizarre multi-lobed nuclei, and marrow iron will be increased. Why marrow iron is increased? Because the iron that is already present in the bone marrow is not being utilized to make RBCs of the normal size and shape, and that is the reason why marrow iron will be increased because of ineffective erythropoiesis. Okay, so this is the bone marrow aspirate showing you megaloblasts. These are megaloblasts. All these are megaloblasts. Okay, can you see this? This is the coarse, grainy, sieve-like chromatin that I was talking about. Any time you see a chromatin that is so coarse and grainy, you have to suspect nuclear immaturity. Okay. This is another picture showing you giant band forms and giant metamyelocytes. Okay, So this is a giant metalmyelocyte and this is a giant band form. This is again a bone marrow aspirate smear. Now, when you see in the peripheral blood smear of a patient who has megaloblastic anemia, what you will see? Oval macrocytosis and hypersegmented neutrophils. Okay, when you see these two, you have to suspect megaloblastic anemia. And when you suspect megaloblastic anemia, now you have two differentials. One is folate deficiency and vitamin B12 deficiency. Okay, so folate deficiency and vitamin B12 deficiency has to be differentiated based on the levels in the serum. Okay, because the because the treatment is obviously different. Okay, thank you.